So, Scoob, how did you feel about your new movie? Hungry. Hey, everybody. Alex here for another Scooby-Doo review. And today, talking about Scoob. I'm sorry it's taken so long for me to make this video. I just had to really watch it a couple times to let it sink in. Because, oh boy, this movie. Well, let's talk about it. When I first watched it, I had a lot of fun. It was nice, good fun, lot of cool stuff. The animation just beautiful, and there was a lot of fun. But going back to it and watching it again, because for those of you that don't know, maybe 10 years in the future, this movie did not come out in theaters as it was originally intended. Instead, it was dumped straight to digital. So that was an interesting experience. And I get to watch it, however many times I want. And I don't know about that now, because, oh boy, this movie, it's, is it a good movie? Now, that's debatable. Now, is it a good Scooby-Doo movie? A good Scooby-Doo movie? No, no. You got some good stuff here. The animation, for the most part, is just gorgeous. There's just some great moments in animation. Some great physical comedy with Scooby and Shaggy running around and crashing into stuff, and I mean that stuff is just amazing. But then you got, oh boy, the story's a mess. Some character designs for basically anybody that's not Scooby and Shaggy and a couple of the Hanna-Barbera characters, they just don't look right. And, oh, the voice acting. Ooh, okay, yeah, that, and like I said, the story, well, let's get into it a bit. Yeah, we start things off, the whole marketing for this movie was for, like, this pup named Scooby-Doo kind of beginning, where we see another take on Scooby and Shaggy meeting for the first time, because they've done this before. The trailers might make you think, oh, now we finally know how they met. There have been at least 3 or 4 different versions of how they first met, and and this one goes for Scooby. Just, they killed off the entire Doo family, because that's a thing in Scooby-Doo's history. He has a whole family of other Doos, and they killed it off by making him some random pup that Shaggy finds a stray. He names him after the Scooby Snacks, which, yeah, that's cute, I guess. And then they meet Kid, Fred, Daphne, and Velma on Halloween. They investigate this soul creepy house to get Shaggy's candy back, and and then you see kind of how they solve their first mystery with all of them working together. And then we get like this really cute callback to the original Scooby-Doo theme song, almost a shot-for-shot remake, and it is gorgeous, except for like this one part where Fred is like making bedroom eyes at the mystery machine. Kind of threw that off. It leads to a joke later, but I think they should have used that a little bit differently, because it really throws off the whole theme song just having that there, because the rest of the theme song plays out mostly how you remember it, only with some scenes with Shaggy and Scooby. They're now together rather than it just being Scooby or just being Shaggy back in the original theme song. But it's amazing. And then Simon Cowell. Okay. They cut to a diner, and it's Simon Cowell wanting to invest in Mystery Incorporated, and he doesn't want Shaggy and Scooby being a part of it, because what do they bring to the team? And this whole thing kickstarts the rest of the movie. I'm just like, that is not how you go about it, because after that first bit, there's no real mystery solving for the rest of the movie. Not really. Like, the entire Scooby-Doo formula shoved out the window. We don't get to really see what this version of the gang is like together. Not really. Because right at this, after like these brief 2 minutes with Simon Cowell, Scooby and Shaggy don't see the rest of the gang for practically up until like the last 10 minutes of the movie. What? Now, there are so many ways that they could have done this better, and I, heck, even the direct to video movies that they've been doing for the past couple years, they all get it right with introducing us to the gang. They always begin, all these movies begin, like all these direct to video movies that they've been pumping out for the last couple years, begins with the gang wrapping up a mystery before solving the main one that we get, in the movies. Which sets up who these characters are, what their whole shtick is, how things operate, and, what they do. We don't get that here. We should have gotten that here. What it should have been, if you wanted to do this right, you could keep the Simon Cowell thing if you had to, but this is how I would have done it. You have the kids solving their little mystery, then we cut to the Scooby-Doo Where Are You theme song, and then which transitions them from being kids to, they're kind of young adults at this point. They're not exactly teenagers. And then once that's over, we cut to the adult gang wrapping up a mystery. Set that up. So Scooby and Shaggy, they're still not, they're goofing off. They don't really contribute a lot to the mystery. And then we go to the diner and Simon Cowell and all that, and how they finish that last mystery, that really and when Simon Cowell criticizes Shaggy and Scooby, that sets up them feeling inadequate and questioning their place in the gang. That's how you would do that. That's how I feel it would have played out better. But you see in the trailer they get beamed up into the Falcon Fury, and we're introduced to the Blue Falcon and Dynamite, which I didn't really like how they handled it. They kind of flipped their whole dynamic on their head, because now Blue Falcon is like this millennial guy. He's not even the real Blue Falcon. He's the son of the original Blue Falcon, which might have worked out better if we had actually gotten to at least see what the original Blue Falcon was like. Dynamite, he's no longer the goofy, malfunctioning robot sidekick. He's competent, which can work. It can work, but it just there's like very little any resemblance of the original Dynamite there, and I don't really like that all too much because I love Dynamite. And this isn't even the first time that they've rebooted Blue Falcon and Dynamite, because it's probably my least favorite version of them. My favorite version, besides the original, is probably how they were presented in Mystery Incorporated, where Blue Falcon is like the Dark Knight version, like a Frank Miller kind of Blue Falcon, and Dynamite is the exact same as he was, only he's slightly more competent and not as goofing up, but still malfunctioning. Still got the silly voice by Frank Welker, which they didn't do here. Anyway, they're introduced to Blue Falcon, Dynamite, and Dee Dee Sykes, who from Captain Caveman, but here she's kind of like part of the Falcon Fury team. And then they're just throwing things at you, and being like, "All right, Scooby and Shaggy, Dick Dastardly is after you. We don't know why, but we gotta track down like these 3 dog skulls before he ends the world or whatever." And Scooby and Shaggy are just like, "All right, man. Wait. We don't really know if we want to, like, do this. Come on, Raggy. This is our chance to show Simon Cowell." They keep bringing up Simon Cowell so much. I don't know why. He really does nothing in this movie, but they mentioned him like 5 different times. And it's just aggravating. Oh. Then we see the rest of the gang, Fred, Daphne, and Velma. They're trying to track down Scooby and Shaggy because they've been kidnapped from the bowling alley, and they kind of feel bad about it. I don't really get this whole group dynamic thing, because the gang didn't even seem to be taking Simon Cowell's advice seriously. They didn't want to get rid of Shaggy or Scooby. They didn't want them to act more serious or anything. They were fine with the way they were. But Scooby and Shaggy still just kind of go off because they're like, we know when we're not wanted. And it just does not work. It just doesn't work. Oh, but we get introduced to Dick Dastardly. He's great. Dastardly himself is great. His whole motivation and his whole character, perfect. I love it. It's just like how he was back in the old days. Except now he's got like a whole bunch of these little mini robots thing. They're they're just there to be marketable. They're minions. They're just cute little bad guy henchmen things that you market them to be toys and stuff. I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent. Uh, and they but Scoob and Shag hanging out with the Falcon Fury group, trying to track down these skulls and figuring out why they need Scooby and Shaggy. Eh, it doesn't even feel like a Scooby Doo film anymore. Like they're not going around and solving mysteries or anything. And it could work. This whole action superhero spy thing. I mean, Shaggy and Scooby Doo get a clue. That was another subversion where Scooby and Shaggy were more like a Kim Possible kind of thing, where Scooby gets like superpowered Scooby Snacks and everything. I actually liked that show. Not a whole lot of people liked it, but I actually liked it. It was an enjoyable spin-off. It could have used a bit more mystery solving here and there, but it was good. It was good. I liked it. Uh, but here, there's just nothing like the original Scooby Doo here. I mean, you got all these Hanna-Barbera references just shoved in this movie. Like they keep throwing it at you. Lap Olympics, Hong Kong Phooey, Jabberjaw. You see it sprinkled all over the background. But there's just so much forced here. Like this whole drama between Scooby and Shaggy, and Shaggy's it feels unimportant because they discover that Dick is just after Scooby himself. Shaggy is unimportant. And then the Blue Falcon, gives Scooby an outfit, and he takes off his collar that Shaggy gave for him, because, that was the whole thing. It just felt forced. It just felt very forced. And it just didn't work. I mean, I've seen better things done with Scooby and Shaggy's relationship. In fact, all of the gang's relationship in the direct-to-video movies and that they've been releasing. Those do a better job of playing with the group's dynamic than this movie even tries to. I just don't understand what they were trying to do here. Besides kicking off a cinematic universe, and even then, did they even do it right? I mean, do I even want to see this Blue Falcon in his own movie? Not really. I want the real Blue Falcon. I want the real Dynamite. Or at least something resembling a little closer to them, because it kind of becomes their movie here, and I just don't really like them all that much, to be honest. The whole dabbing and where are my balloons and, in Instagram and whatever, just, ugh. But there's like this whole scene at this abandoned amusement park now. That is a good setting to pick. Very Scooby-Doo. The atmosphere there, it was pretty good. I liked it. But that just sets things up for later on, and they just kind of go around. Dick Dastardly catches Fred, Daphne, and Velma and kidnaps him. Then they kind of discover why he wants like these 3 skull heads to open the gates to hell, is to steal the treasure, and kind of talk a little bit about his backstory with his dog Muttley from Dastardly and Muttley's flying machines and the wacky races. Dastardly had his own dog sidekick. Get a little bit of that. You know where it's going. You know where it's going. You know where it's going when they're setting that up. And then we get, like, this whole messy third act and everything. Captain Caveman's in there for, like, 2 minutes. Didn't like his voice all that much. It's funny for, like, half a second, because they see him and he's like, now, I'm going to speak slowly because you do not understand me because you are not intelligent. Or something like that. Just having Captain Caveman being smarter than you would expect. That was funny, like, for, like, half a second, but... But then there's like no real version of the original Captain Caveman in there at that point. And they got rid of his cape. I hate that they got rid of his cape, but otherwise, he looks alright. Blue Falcon and Scooby have to, like, challenge him for the last skull head. Then Blue Falcon starts going, yeah, I can take on this shorty. And he's like, did you just call me short? Sure did, short stuff. You could call me Captain Caveman! Just beats the living tar out of him. And it's fun. It's fun. There's some fun stuff with Scooby trying to fight, and it's cute. But then Shaggy shows up. He wants to reconcile with Scooby, but then Dastardly had tricked him, and then he finally gets Scooby in the last skull. And the rest of the gang they come back together, and it's just this whole mess of characters just arguing, because Blue Falcon feels inept, because he's not the hero that his dad was, and then the rest of the gang, they and Shaggy, and he who wants to make up with Scooby, and it's just a big old mess. And they go to Greek's place, because Dastardly's open up the gates of hell, of Hades, so he can get his treasure, and it's being guarded by Cerberus, like this big ghost three-headed dog. And then you have like this big old messy climax. There's some cute stuff in there, like this one point, Blue Falcon and Dynamite are having like their little serious talk moment, where Dynamite's just like, look, you may be terrified, but look at Scooby and Shaggy. They're terrified, and they're taking on Cerberus. Then it cuts over to Scooby and Shaggy doing the classic Scooby Dooby Doo sequence with the pop music and everything. They're like, we're totally terrified. I can't believe we're taking on Cerberus. It was just a very funny little moment. But then this whole bit with Fred, he puts on the ascot for like a second because the Mystery Machine got destroyed, and I think that was when the whole they should have had that when he sees the van burning, then him flashing to him getting the van, him taking care of the van, and going on mysteries, and then him and that awkward moment where he's like making bedroom eyes at the van. That's where that part should have been. And then he puts on the ascot. He gets serious. He charges at Cerberus. Bye, Fred. Like you don't mess with a guy's vehicle, man. Anyway, you know how it ends. Dastardly finds Muttley, who was trapped in there the whole time. That was his whole motivation, was getting Muttley back, and that was a pretty sweet moment. I'll be fair to that. But everybody works together. They get the dog back in there, but to lock the door, they need either Shaggy or Scooby together to close it. One of them has to be on the other side to keep it closed for good. So Shaggy makes the ultimate sacrifice, and it just feels forced. It doesn't come naturally. It does not feel natural. It just feels so forced. And although Scooby, him howling when he thinks Shaggy's gone for good, that hit hard. That hit hard. That hit pretty hard, actually. But it doesn't stick. Shaggy gets kicked out, and then they have this big old dance party. Fred gets a new Mystery Machine, and it looks horrible. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And then they have their little mystery business, and adventures continue, and we get a whole bunch of more cameos, hinting at future movies or whatever. And that is Scoob. This one big old messy romp of a movie. I had fun with it the first time, but going back, it was just hard. It was just hard, because the voice acting, you got all these celebrity voices. You get Frank Welker back as Scooby, but he talks a little too much in this movie, to be honest. They kind of been doing this a lot lately, with having Scooby talk more in the more recent shows and movies, but but they kind of take away his R's a lot, that speech impediment part, to make him more coherent, and it just does not work a whole lot of the time. It just comes off weird hearing him talk that much and being so clear. It just takes away a lot of the charm. I mean, less is more when it comes to Scooby talking. I mean, he can talk for a bit if it's just for like a one-off gag, but he talks a little too much here, and it just really sets me off. And with the with him being a lot clearer, it makes like a couple of the jokes make a lot less sense. Like, why is he calling Raggy Raggy, Shaggy Raggy, if if he can talk normally for just about everything else, and then the whole Rick with a D, Rick with a R. Oh, it just doesn't work. Oh. And Will Forte, he does his darndest. He does his darndest, but it just sometimes I fell into it that could believe that this was Shaggy, but mostly, just no. Now, I'm not against the use of using a few celebrity voices in like minor roles, but the main cast, you had a good cast ready to go that have been doing these roles for like over 20 years for some of them, and jeez, and you just get rid of them with these celebrities because who's going to come and see this unless the guy from High School Musical is voicing Fred or whatever, and I'm just like. But Frank Welker's right there. It's been his role, and they just don't sound like themselves. Ugh, it's just one big mess. Now, should you not see this movie? Well, if you have no love for Hanna-Barbera, if you have no love for Scooby-Doo whatsoever, feel free to skip it. But for me, I am a massive Scooby-Doo fan. And it's not worth completely just writing it off. Not like Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island or Daphne or Velma. Now it's not to that level. Now there's some beautiful animation here. There was some genuine potential here. There still is. Now they can make a sequel to this, bring back some of the more mystery solving elements. Form an actual mystery here. And maybe try and work on the vocal direction a bit if you can't just replace them. Yeah. Maybe tone back the other Hanna-Barbera appearances a bit, and you might have something decent here. I mean, this had a lot of potential, but its execution just didn't really come out right. Now, that's really all I got to say about it. Thanks for bearing with me. And if let me know how you feel about this movie down in the comments below if you've seen it, if you feel it's worth checking out. And thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Stay safe out there. This whole world it's really scaring me, man. It's really scaring me. But thank you. Thank you so much. And until next time, Scooby Dooby Doo!